Hi, welcome to Money Confidence. This is Crystal Oculi, and I'm the Chief Financial Strategist here at Confidence Wealth. Every week, I talk about a topic that's been in all my meetings, or at least a majority part of it, and hopefully bring back a tip or a method of thinking about it to you for the upcoming week. So basically, the topic of the conversation, of no surprise, one of the biggest conversations that probably happens in retirement planning, Social Security. When should I turn on my Social Security? And you have heard me talk about this for quite some time. And one of the things I always say that the formula is different for everyone. It's not a cookie cutter answer where you can say, just turn it on and wait till 70, because that's the best number that it's going to be. That doesn't necessarily mean that will be the best time for you to turn it on. Now, I want to go really quickly and more talk about what do you need to think about when you are thinking about just in general what the choice is for myself, right? So when you're thinking, what is the choice for you specifically, don't think about, I'm going to turn it on because the fund is going to be depleted, because I hear that all the time. Unfortunately, I was in two meetings that it was a really bad idea for them, but they had already turned it on, and it was past the 12-month period where they could not go back anymore and say, I made a mistake, pay it back and restart again, because now you only have 12 months. Back in the days before 2016, you actually had till 70 to do that. You don't have that anymore. So there are certain rules that have changed. So really, for these individuals, they turn on their Social Security early because they heard their friends say that Social Security might be depleted. So why don't I go ahead and turn on my income? Well, how's that going to really help? This is what I want you to think about logically. If you really think Social Security is going to be depleted, you're just trying to take out a few paychecks till it actually then goes away. And then what? And some of you may have an issue, some of you may not have an issue, but really that's not how you want to do any planning. Yes, it is projected now that by approximately 2033, if there are not any adjustments made to Social Security and the fund itself, it can only pay 76% of the obligation. So that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be zero. There is this misassumption that there is nothing in there. That's not the case. It's just that there are a lot of people retiring and there weren't as many people working as the ones retiring. But the idea is that hopefully that will change. But also more importantly, there are certain things that they're doing already to make some adjustments to the fund. For example, as you already know, there are lots of rules that went away in 2016. There were certain spousal benefits, file and suspend, that were amazing, that really went away for anyone that was born after a certain period. So that in itself is supposed to help. The other thing you have noticed throughout the years, that turning on full retirement for some people is 65, for some people is 66, 67, and a few months in between, obviously. And the reason that that has been getting done is that they can push that a little further, so there is more money in the fund. I would not be surprised that at some point full retirement could be pushed back to even 70 for the younger generation. And you know what? That's okay, because when you think about when Social Security was created in general, people life expectancy was in their mid 60s. Maybe they made it to 70. Maybe that was a big deal, but really it was like in the mid 60s. So you barely collected at that time. You were able to collect, at basically 60, you barely made it to 65. That's why they changed the rule when they said early retirement 62, because so many people were not making it. So with that said, that's one of the reasons that it makes sense now to push for retirement age back, because our life expectancy is a lot longer. So for now, don't get me wrong, if you're pretty much above 50, 55, I don't see that changing much for you. If you're younger than that, yeah, I actually can pretty much look at that saying as a big possibility that full retirement would be 70 for a lot of us. But that's okay. Again, we're living longer, and that helps the fund. The other thing that they're looking to do, which some of you already probably came to my webinar and heard me talk about Social Security, that they are looking to maybe have Social Security where no matter how much you make, you're putting, there's a threshold that once you hit that, you don't put any more money into Social Security. So now they're looking of taking that threshold away. So then if they are able to do that, there's more money coming in. Not to mention, as Social Security is taxed for everyone, even Warren Buffett, 15% of their Social Security is not taxed. So where 85% in their case is taxed, right? So some people pay on 85% of their Social Security, some people pay on taxes on 50% of their Social Security. So just depending on where you fall, unless you have no other income, then obviously your Social Security is not going to be taxed. But with that said, you have to look at it, and there's a formula for that. I'm not going to go through the details because this is supposed to be just like bits and pieces. But if you really want to know, and if you haven't attended my Social Security webinar, I encourage you to attend it. You can learn more. If you don't have the link, go ahead and message me here or shoot out an email to me at askcrystal@icwm.com, and I'll be happy to send that to you. But the purpose of why I wanted to bring this up was that they are looking to make adjustments so that the fund can be protected. So don't make adjustments or your reasoning to turn on Social Security based on fear. Make it based on math. Mathematically, what's the best way? So like I gave you the example, the two couples that I saw during last week, one of the spouses had turned her on at 62. Actually was not a good idea. It was better for her to have waited till full retirement, because not only she was working, she was getting penalized. It didn't make any sense. It just also was shooting them up to the next tax bracket when turning on their income. So it was a really bad choice for them. Unfortunately, these are the things that happen, and people make mistakes. And then if it goes past a certain period of time, you really are done and you can't undo it. So if you want to know when's the best time to turn it on, run a Social Security maximization report to see when's the best time to turn it on for you. So when we look at Social Security benefits, when's the best time to turn it on, we look at everything holistically. That's how you should be looking at it, not just Social Security compartment on its own. It needs to be part of the big picture, because it matters where the rest of the income is going to come from. For some people, when I run it, regardless of the amount of money they have, it may make sense to turn it on earlier than later. And for some people that may not have as much money, it actually makes sense to turn it on later. So it really is, it's not a general rule. For everyone is different. It also depends on what type of income they're receiving as well. So, and which stages of your retirement. So if you've never run a Social Security maximization report and you're interested, please don't hesitate to reach out. I know our clients, we're always doing that and looking at it on an annual basis, or as you get closer to retirement, to see when's the best time. But you may have friends and colleagues that are watching this, so they're more than welcome to get a complimentary session with one of the advisors to run that report. So really, my biggest message for you today is don't allow fear to make any choices for you. And Social Security is a big part and a small piece of the big puzzle, but a big part of your retirement. So you need it. You need to treat it with the same amount of caution of when you dip into your own 401k or you dip into your own funds. So you have to really be careful of when's the best time so it can make the most sense for you. So that was my message this week for you. I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great one.